There's different levels to poverty. Nigerian poverty is not my portion. In fact, UK poverty is not my portion either. I think there was a point in my life where I was DMing this guy every week. No response, of course, but in the end I finally got the message. When you are in the presence of a Yoruba demon, you better behave accordingly. Because my guy's calling her his ex-girlfriend. I'm like, sir, these traditional weddings, you know somebody's husband. Like, and if you left your wife or fiance just after she lost your child, it's I can only imagine what you do to me. Thank you so much. It was an interesting date. Don't call me again. No, I just. Hey beautiful people, I'm Mimi of Justing Me. Welcome back to the channel. It has been a minute, or not since the last video, but since I sat down and I did a story time. So I thought I'd do one for you guys about the most recent guy I went on a date with. Now the last 2 years has been purely focused on work. I'm not gonna lie, I think I've been on 3 dates in total. Let's say 5 dates with 3 different guys. So 2 of the dates got to a second date, and 1 was only 1 date. And that's the one we're going to talk about today. This is quite recently. This is probably within the last month. And for me, like, what I want to do this time around with my dating story times is not just share, you know, my personal life, but also just give my thoughts on, you know, dating, what the situation is currently, the climate, trends that pop up, how to navigate certain things, and my opinion. I feel like in the past that I was very skeptical about giving you know, dating advice, because, you know, like me that I don't have relationship me that I don't have PhD in boyfriend, how can I be giving dating advice? But I feel like, you know, why not? Like, I've had a lot of experiences, I got opinions, and I might get it wrong sometimes, but that's just life. So that's kind of like where I'm gonna come at dating from this time around. So today's topic is all about red flags, because this guy had them and he was proudly waving them about. I remember, I can't remember what show it was, and we're talking about this guy who was not good in bed but was sleeping around a lot, and the woman was like, he is proudly flaunting his disability up and down town. And that's kind of what I feel like this guy, because he was so upfront about his red flags, which I appreciate. We love an honest toxic king, like who will tell you straight up all the toxic things about him. I appreciate that. But let's start right at the beginning. First of all, kind of want to differentiate between a red flag and a deal breaker. For me, a red flag is something that, you know, ultimately you spot it, or sometimes you don't spot it, but it's kind of a flaw in somebody's character that you really need to be aware of, like you really need to pay attention to. And then a deal breaker is something that may not be for you. It's more subjective. It's something that you're like, oh no, that's not for me, but it's not necessarily a flaw in their character. So I feel like a red flag, the majority of people would agree that is a flaw in that person's character. That is something that most people would want to stay away from. And a deal breaker, that's more subjective. I will probably stay away from that because it's not for me, but there are many people that would encourage that. So just wanted to share that distinction. If you guys feel like it's a bit different, feel free to let me know what you think a red flag is. So this guy, what should we call him? Got to give him a Yoruba name, because he was Yoruba. I was thinking, was he Yoruba? Yeah, he was definitely Yoruba demon. No, I wouldn't go that far. He seemed like a nice guy, just definitely not for me. Let's call him Bayo. Okay, so the first time I met Bayo was at my restaurant, and to be honest, all our relations and talking happened at the restaurant. I'm going to try and speed through this because I can't be bothered to edit, so we're going to try and keep this 15 minutes if I can. First time I met him was at my restaurant, and drink, and he was smoking. Now immediately, that's a deal breaker. Like, for me, that's a deal breaker, and that's what I mean by the distinction. Like, that's not a red flag. A lot of people smoke and a lot of people don't mind that, but for me, I know personally, cannot date a smoker, cannot even stand or tolerate the smell. And it's funny because, like, my brothers and my sister smoke, and whenever they do, I will literally leave the room. Like, I cannot be around it. So automatic deal breaker. So as I'm walking up to the table, I'm like, oh shit, like this isn't going anywhere. Damn. Anyway, get to the table, obviously do the introductions, just thinking, oh well, I'll still see like what the vibe is like, because if I really like him, maybe I'll make an exception, maybe he'll quit, I don't know. So get to the table, start talking. One of the very first things I asked him, because I remember the last time I dated a black guy and a Yoruba guy, he had a girlfriend, and when I found out about his girlfriend and I asked him how come he never told me, my guy with his full chest said to me, because you never asked. And I vowed I would never make that mistake again. I'll be honest, I don't feel the need to always ask, but when you are in the presence of a Yoruba demon, you better behave accordingly. So I was like, yeah, I'm not taking any chances. So I asked Bayo, like, do you have a girlfriend? And of course he said no. I was like, okay, do you have anybody who believes they are in a relationship with you, or believes they're your boyfriend and then that they're your girlfriend? And then he was like, well, and that's when the truth started to come out. So first of all, he hit me with the fact that he had been engaged. That's what he put it, he'd been engaged, and that had ended last year. Now, this was interesting for me because the first thing he said to me was that, like, she lived in Abuja, which is like a different state, and they had done their traditional wedding. Now, I'm not super knowledgeable about like traditional weddings and English weddings or white weddings, so if you are and you're like Nigerian or African, please like let me know down in the comment section below. But isn't that legally binding? If they do a traditional wedding, doesn't that mean they're married? Because my guy's calling her his ex-girlfriend, and I'm like, sir, you did traditional wedding, are you not somebody's husband? Like, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, cool, like what happened, why did you guys break up? And he was like, oh well, basically she was pregnant and she ended up losing the child, and due to all these extra factors that were happening at the time, she decided that now that she's lost the child, it's better to make a clean break rather than them try and work it out. Like, that was like one of the major things that was keeping them together, the pregnancy. And she was like, clean slate, I don't want to be with you. And I was like, that's a bit strange, like why would she want a clean slate? And he said that basically she wanted her mother to live with them after they got married. She was going to move to Ibadan, which is where I met him, from Abuja, which is where she lived, and she wanted to bring her mother with her. And he was like, absolutely not, like I want to be happy in my marriage, why would you bring like my in-law to live with us from like the very get-go? And I totally understood that. Like, I get that you don't want to be living with your in-laws, I completely get that. And I did ask him, like, but is the mother sick? Like, is there like a reason why the mother needs to live with them? She's like, no, it's just a promise. So sorry for that, the camera died. But yeah, basically he didn't want to live with the girl's mother, and that's whatever, makes perfect sense to me. What didn't make sense is that somebody who has married you, traditional married you, already probably planned their white wedding, has been carrying your child, loses that child, and then they automatically don't want to be in a relationship with you. I mean, it can happen, but I feel like more of a natural reaction for a woman is to cling to you in that time of like loss, you know, in that time of like sorrow, not to be like, right, well, this is my get out of jail free card, I'm gone. So that was already, not gonna lie, I don't know if it's true, not true, but already that was screaming red flag to me. That's just like, that story is not making sense. And if you left your wife or fiance just after she lost your child, it's I can only imagine what you would do to me. I'm not about that life, I'm really not. So already I'm sat there like, I've entered pepper soup. This man wants to show me hot pepper soup. Anyway, after that, he doesn't hold back. He goes, actually, also, after telling me about his wife, also tells me that there are 2 other women who may believe that they're in a relationship with him. And I'm like, you know, me the whole time, I'm not judging anybody, yo. I'm just like, all right, okay, cool, tell me more, tell me more. Because if you think I'm going to stop you in your tracks and start arguing with you when I've only heard 1/3 of your toxicity, no sir, please give me the full 100%. Let me be pretending as if it's all perfectly fine, while in my mind I'm packing my bags, packing my luggage, you know, exiting stage left. Anyway, so now there's 2 other girlfriends apart from the wife, you know, and you know, so it turns out from what he told me that he'd slept with at least one of them. I can't remember if he slept with the second one. And then I think I was asking him, so like, okay, you're obviously friends with them, you're sleeping with them, so I'm imagining that means you find them attractive. Like, what's the deal breaker? What's the reason why it's not progressing? And I remember that one of them, he said like, she's fair skinned and that's not his type, he likes dark skinned girls. I'm also hearing that there is a girl out there who likes you, considers you her friend, wants to be with you, and her skin tone is the reason you don't want something serious with her, but you're happy sleeping with her, but her skin tone is the reason. I'm like, yes sir, tell me more. I'm having such a good time. My head is mentally like across the Atlantic, almost running back to the UK. I'm probably flying over France at this point. But I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. You know, you like what you like. Okay. So again, that's a second red flag for me, because I'm sorry, if you don't like somebody like that, why are you leading them on? Because the way you're treating that girl, who's to say you're not going to do twice as bad to me? And it did not sound like she was, you know, happy to just be sleeping around. She clearly wanted more from what he was telling me, but he didn't see her in that way, but was still happy to use her for relations. Okay, moving on to the next flag. My guy was proudly waving around in the air. So he randomly asks me how many male friends I have, and this is a point in my life where I've just made my first and second friends like in the space of the last 2 days. But I was like, I don't really have any friends, because I don't, you know. But I'm watching the way this guy is watching me so intently, and it's almost as if he's expecting me to start counting them and say 3 or 7 or 10. Like, he wants a specific number, but I was just like, I don't really have any friends here, I don't really know anybody. And he starts quizzing me, and he was like, but you must meet people the way you met me. You must meet lots of men at the restaurant, there's lots of men here. I'm like, I didn't meet you like that, sir. I just sent you shots. Like, just as a manager, I don't go up and speak to the customers. This was all very like, I've never met anybody, you know, I've not gone on a single date. Like, I think I was just being quite open in it about it. The red flags hadn't really kicked in yet, like, until he said this. He was like, good. Good that I don't have any friends. Okay, he was like, good, you know, because I'm a jealous guy. Ah, that's when I realized, oh, okay, so this is your insecurity. Like, you want to be policing my friends, but not just my friends, my male friends, because that's really what it is, insecurity. And maybe it will start with male friends and it will lead to any friends. And I was like, okay. And then he quickly corrected himself. He was like, no, it's not that I'm actually jealous, it's just that I love myself too much to be competing for my woman's attention. I'm like, how did jealous and insecure all of a sudden turn to self-love? Like, sir, like, make it make sense. You don't want your woman to have any male friends because you love yourself too much? I said, at this point, you know, I'm almost getting ready to land back in the UK. We are approaching Heathrow Airport. You know, I'm just cutting how much longer of this date have I got to, you know, stay on before I can catch my flight back home. Like, this is not going anywhere. So I'm just like, okay. And me, I don't even have anything to say to you. You think I'm going to argue with you about why can't I have male friends? Why can't... No, sir. I've seen enough. I've heard enough. You will start by controlling my friends. Next, you're controlling what I wear. Next, you're checking my phone. No, it's not for me, sir. But thank you very much for your honesty. We love an honest, toxic king. Okay, and I feel like there was one more thing he said to me on that date that I was just like, red flag, red flag. Did it come back to me? Maybe that's it. That was already plenty. You left your wife, fiance, don't know what, you guys let me know. It's a traditional marriage, not a marriage. You left that woman just after she had a baby. Like, I mean, even if she said she didn't want to be with you anymore because she wanted her mother. Oh, that was the last thing. So I said to him, why didn't you just like compromise? Because you know, I understand, like, I think it's very fair you don't want to live with her mum, but I mean, if this is somebody you love, you're planning to marry, is about to have your kid, why wouldn't you just compromise and be like, okay, let your mum, you know, come, you know, maybe for a year or something? And he was like, no, I'm a very stubborn guy, you know, I don't like to compromise. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Now me, I'm not really judging you too much for that, because as I said to him, I'm a very stubborn girl as well. Like, I'm actually very stubborn. Like, I can relate to that. I'm working on compromising more. I've been working on it for quite a few years, but innately I am extremely stubborn. I like to have my own way, and my guy's like, no, you seem very nice, you look. I said, sir, I'm not very nice, as I told you now. Stubborn. Like, the way you came here and I saw you were smoking, I told you already, I don't like smokers. Like, for me, I'm not going to compromise on that. That's just kind of the way I am. Like, no, if you like me, you compromise. You seem like a friendly. Yeah, God. All right, so we're going through baggage claim now. I have landed. I am back in the UK. Time to pick up my luggage and go. Thank you so much. It was an interesting date. Don't call me again. No, I joke. Like, I left it as like, look, we can be friends. Obviously nothing's gonna happen here, because it's just a series of situations that I'm not gonna willfully see and still enter myself into that equation. Absolutely not. And that's what I feel like as women sometimes, and men sometimes too, when you like somebody or you like the idea of them, or maybe you've been lonely for a while, you want that companionship, you choose to ignore these things. I don't need to wait for him to leave me after I lose a child. Like, I've already seen that this is something you're capable of doing, because yes, if you're not willing to compromise, I would still try to work it out with that partner if it's just about the mother thing, because she's just lost my child. Like, this is not the time to be splitting up, in my opinion. Like, I don't need you to leave me. I don't need you to not want to date me for my skin tone. I've seen that you can do that to another woman. I don't need you to do it to me, you know. I don't need you to be controlling the kind of male friends I have. No, sir, I've seen enough. Thank you very much, I'm out. And I had a friend, like, last year, she started dating this guy, and from the get-go, the thing she told me about him, I'm like, sis, run. But the way she would excuse every little thing that he was telling, and him too, he was an honest toxic king. He was confidently telling her that he physically abused, domestic violence, physically abused his previous partner, who was also the mother of his kid, you know. And he had been living with her. I don't remember everything, but he'd been living with this woman. She was the mother of his kid. They've been together for many years in a relationship, at least 4 years, and he had physically abused her 2 times. And he was telling my friend that he was very sorry about it, like it would never happen again. I'm like, sis, one time maybe you are sorry. In fact, no, it cannot be me. Oh, the day you put let me not, you know, because one day if it happens and they arrest me, they will use this video as evidence in my trial that it was premeditated. No, but like for real, the day, nah, it can't be me. It's no. But you did it once and you came back to do it twice, and you are saying it was a mistake, and you, my friend, you want to go and date him too, so him too, he can make that mistake to you. And upon the domestic violence one, I'm like, first of all, you're doing this to a woman that you are living in her house. You are living in her house. I'm telling you something, yeah, there is nothing for me worse than an insecure man, because he will make you pay for his insecurities. So this guy was not in a financial situation to really take care of the woman and his kid. He was living in her house, her family home. She was the one who had a job, and from what I understood, she was kind of supporting the relationship. He said that he got physically abusive with her because she would let him know, well, I'm the one making the money, I'm the one. I'm like, well, yeah, she is the one making the money, sir. Like, do you not want her to tell you? I'm sure she's frustrated having to take care of her little child and her big ass boyfriend as well. Like, and because of that, living in her own house, you're gonna beat her. Like, no. So I'm like, sister, friend, why do you need why do you need more than this? And then I asked about the relationship with his child. Like, he doesn't see his child, and he's saying he doesn't see the child because he doesn't want to have to deal with the mother. So it's not one of those ones where the mother is even withholding the child. He says he doesn't even want to have to deal with the mother in any capacity. That's why he doesn't see his child. So you, my guy, you have fathered, you know, offspring, you have spread your seeds, and now to take care of the child, you know, because you don't like the mother that you chose for the child. Or more, if you like, see these flags and still, and I'm not gonna lie, my friend willingly still carried on for 3-4 months, and I was vehemently against it. I told her, girl, no, my guy did not have, you know when you're not equally yoked. Like, she was doing so much better than him. I'm like, why? Like, I get it, you're lonely, you've been single for a while, but my sister, you've seen and you've heard from his own mouth what he did to that girl, and trust me, what he did to her and what he's told you is only going to be probably 20 to 30% of the actual situation, and you still want to go and enter anyway. Probably lasted about 4 months, and then she left. Not that he beat her or that like they had a kid or anything. It wasn't the same situation, but she saw the things that she couldn't tolerate, you know, the character flaws that she couldn't tolerate, and she was like, you're right, Mimi, like, the signs were there all along. I'm like, yes sis, the signs were there all along. He doesn't need to beat you. Like, you've already seen that this person does not have good values, they don't have a good character. Like, it's as if you need to experience it for yourself. Okay, oh, but don't act like they weren't there when you chose to ignore it. One important thing, like, I'm just gonna leave you guys on before I go, this video is way longer than 15 minutes is that a person can hide who they are, and a lot of people will not be as honest as like the two situations I've shared here. They'll want to hide, you know, their flaws, their past, their situations, you know. But what you can do for yourself is be discerning. Pay attention in between the lines of what they say. Pay attention to how they speak about their ex. Pay attention to how they speak to strangers. Pay attention to how they treat people that are less fortunate than them. Homeless people, beggars, you know, people with disabilities perhaps. Pay attention to the remarks they make about maybe homosexuals or people that have different beliefs than they do, because these are the things that will tell you what a person's character is like. Because it's one thing to maybe not share the same values and beliefs as other people, that's absolutely fine, but there are people that will take it upon their heads to be insulting, criticizing, wanting to be violent, threatening to people that don't believe the same things that they do. And just because you believe the same thing, maybe you guys share the same religion, you also don't maybe like homosexuality, you're absolutely fine with it until the day where he starts threatening you, and you want to say, well, I never saw the signs that he was maybe aggressive or threatening. Sis, you saw it. You saw how he treated other people, but you chose to ignore it because he didn't treat you like that. So that's kind of what I want to leave you guys with, you know. Pay attention to the little details, pay attention to how they treat others, more importantly, and pay attention to how they speak about their ex and the reason why they're no longer with their ex. That is very important. And if a man is actively not a part of his child's life, actively as in the sense that he could be and he actively chooses not to be, there is absolutely no reason for you to be involved with a man like that. Absolutely no reason. Because someone who does not even care about their own flesh and blood, their own offspring, says that's red is not the color. What's called, I don't even think there's a color for what that flag is. Anyway guys, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Share your thoughts below. I hope I haven't been too harsh. You know, there are times where you will not see any red flags. I definitely believe that there are people out there that are master manipulators, master manipulators, but the honest truth is those people are very few and far between. Most people, the cracks will start to show. They will let the facade fall, you know, at times when they're feeling comfortable. If you've been dating somebody for a month, I think at that point you've probably seen enough to assess their true character. You know, people can't really keep up a lie for a month plus. You've seen the things he's been trying to hide. So I'm Mimi, adjusting me. We are looking good, we are feeling good. If you guys are loving this content, make sure you subscribe, make sure you show me love in the comment section, make sure you follow me on Instagram. I think I'm going to be doing some lives, maybe we can talk about this topic actively. I'll catch you in the next one.
Just say no, 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 no. bang bang, mash up the place. Then I bang bang, mash up the place.